The games come thick and fast anyway. The midweek football is back this week. On Wednesday, we welcome Bristol City to St Mary's. And I'm pleased to say that Ben Mead from the Robins on Tour YouTube channel is here to help us preview that one. Hi, Ben. Thanks for coming on. You all right?
Yes, not too bad. No problem. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm
Good.
looking forward to Wednesday.
Good. Well, yeah, I think we are as well. I mean, you had a decent result at the weekend by the looks of it. You must have been happy with that win.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was a much needed one as well. Obviously, Liam Manning coming in. I think just after 2 days, we had QPR away, and obviously with 2 days to work, you can't do much there. So this was his first real proper game at home as well. I think with the week we've got as well, so it's a tough run of games coming into this winter period. So I think it was a much needed win, and I'm a bit more confident heading into Wednesday now than if we were still looking for that first win under Manning.
Do you think that the change had to be made? Let's just deal with that first. Obviously, Manning coming in, but did he have to go?
It's still a question that City fans are still asking each other, really. And I don't think Pearson had to leave, but now we've got Manning in, and it's sort of a refresh that I think we sort of did need. I think although Pearson did a brilliant job with us both on and off the pitch, I think he wasn't going to take us any further. I don't think we would have managed to reach playoffs anytime soon under Pearson, and I think he probably would have gone at the end of the season when his contract was up anyway. I still think maybe it was a bit harsh to get rid of him when we did. I think the sort of board were looking for a reason to sack him, and then obviously losing on the derby away at Cardiff is sort of, the only reason they were going to get, really. So it's a weird one. I think it was harsh to sack him, but then I think it was going to happen sooner rather than later anyway.
You were shaking your head and nodding along, Alfie. Did you think it was a strange one to get rid of Pearson then?
No, Ben's pointed out exactly why he went. And I think he probably, I'll read him between the lines. I feel that maybe health reasons and things like that were probably a factor as well, because he wasn't always able to be there. A lot of things like that going on. But I just think the job that Nice did with City over the last few years, given that the investment they've had, or the lack thereof, selling their best players each summer and then spending none of it, 20 million or whatever it was for Alex Scott and reinvesting zilch. I don't know what more they expected of him. And Ben pointed out, I felt that they got rid of Nice because they've been waiting to, rather than because of a poor run of results. I mean, the statement they gave was that he wasn't fulfilling the club's ambitions of being in the top six, but the budget is nowhere near the top six. So I don't know where they've got that impression from.
I think the health reasons are definitely valid, because I was speaking to one of City's reporters yesterday, and I think it was one of those ones where, when with Pearson, it was a manager that would sort of sit back and sort of tell the players what to do from further back. But then obviously with his health issues, he wasn't on the bench for the majority of the games leading up to his getting rid of him. So yeah, I think health reasons did have a part to play as well.
We've all been there when you fired a manager and then you're thinking, right, here we go, we're going to get someone really decent coming in, and then they go and get the guy from Oxford. No disrespect to Liam Manning, I'm sure a great guy, but was he top of your list, Ben? Was that someone that you'd heard of and thought, he's the man for the job?
It was such a weird one, because obviously, when a manager goes there, there's a lot of rumours about, who's getting interviewed and all that. And I think the biggest name we had rumoured was Frank Lampard. And obviously with those rumours, I was actually quite happy with that as a young manager. But then obviously there was, I think Notts County's manager was rumoured as well, and obviously also Liam Manning, and I think there's a few foreign managers as well. And it was a bit up in the air, really. And I think Liam Manning said in his first interview that he only really got contacted the day before he actually came down to Bristol to sign the contract. So it's a weird one, but I think it's the sort of manager we wanted. You see the other clubs like Leicester, they've got a young manager and that isn't really well known, but he's a coach rather than a manager, and I think that's what City were really looking for, and I think that's what we've got.
So 3 points off top six, I think, at the moment, isn't it? That's the aim for the season. Have you got the squad to do that, do you think?
Again, I think every club around the mid-table upwards is pushing on the top six, and it's going to be this sort of winter period where we're going to find out if we're actually going to make a real push for the top six. Squad wise, yes, I think we do, but then it is just the likes of Mehmeti, who we bought in under Pearson. Now even just at 2 games in is looking a completely different player under Manning than he was with Pearson. Jason Knight as well, coming in the summer, looking very good. It's again, the winter period's so busy and tough, 1 or 2 injuries and, we could be in a bit of bother again. But yeah, it's a weird one. I'm not too sure. I think top 10 is probably the aim now, with obviously all the changes that are going on. But if we can come out of sort of January in the top 10, few points off top 6, then yeah, no reason why we shouldn't be pushing that.
You've got some quite key fixtures coming up, haven't you? I mean, there was the QPR one before the international break, and that was a point. You got the win at the weekend, and now it's going to be quite testing.
Yeah, but I mean, I think already this season we've had a few games where we've dropped points where we didn't need to drop points, and if it does come down to the end of May and we're only a few points off the playoffs, we're going to be kicking ourselves. Like Stoke at home, I think we were 2-0 up and we lost that 3-2. QPR as well, going to QPR, you're hoping for 3 points, really, aren't you? So to come away with a point, it's not the end of the world, but still. There was another one as well, but yeah, that's 2 or 3 games where we've dropped points where we didn't really need to. So yeah, it's vital the next few, but obviously it's tough. Like going to you guys on Wednesday, I don't think many City fans are expecting anything but a loss, maybe a draw if we're lucky. But I think you'd have to be very optimistic to be hoping to come away with 3 points, and then there's 2 or 3 that are winnable. To be fair, I think we've got Norwich, Huddersfield, Blackburn, Sunderland, and Hull heading up to Christmas. There's 5 winnable games, to be honest. But again, the Championship's so unpredictable. You never know.
I think the way that Liam Manning wants his City side to play this season will be, I think, it might be beneficial for Saints on Wednesday, because I think certainly when they drew 0-0 with QPR last week or a couple of weeks ago, there was a lot of panic about this possession-based style. So they want to play a very similar way, like Ben mentioned, like a young modern coach who is on the ground, on the training ground, and I think that is what suits about them right now. When they come up against teams like Rotherham or like Preston or whoever else, Huddersfield this weekend, who've got a low block and they're putting 10 men behind the ball and they're defending sternly, that's when they come and start. I think if City come and St Mary's and they play the way they want to play, it could quite easily be 2-3 goals for Saints. I think they'll win that battle. If it's a direct competition, they'll win that.
How do you see us approach, or Bristol approaching this one on Wednesday, Ben? Do you think they're gonna, as Alfie called it right there, is that the kind of setup? Is that how you see that playing out?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's Manning's 3rd game, and I don't think he's going to be planning on changing anything this early, with the teams we're playing. And we saw on Saturday, the first sort of 35 minutes, it was pretty boring. But then it was, when you look back at it a day after, and it was, possession. We kept the ball. We didn't really give Borough any chances. And I mean, I think if that is how we're going to play on Wednesday, then it's not going to be the end of the world. So yeah, I think it will be sort of possession football, and then just trying to find that final pass in the final third to then just get a shot on goal. But yeah, I don't think Manning will be planning on changing much from Saturday, even though it is, arguably one of the best teams in the league, where maybe under Pearson we would have changed it and gone there quite defensively. But I'm hoping that we're gonna play the same on Saturday, and hopefully we'll manage to stop your attack and maybe find a few goals.
I can see a few changes for us. I know we kind of touched on it earlier, Glenn, but do you think like Alcaraz comes back into the team and maybe Ross Stewart plays a bigger role on Wednesday, especially with the 2 games this week?
Yeah, I definitely see Alcaraz coming back into the team, but it's hard to know which. I mean, when we've had 3 game weeks before, there's been an obvious game to prioritise when you could rotate players. Was it Stoke where we did it? And yeah, we looked very Carabao Cup, didn't we, with our lineup? But we got Bristol City at home, then we got Cardiff at home, so it's 2 teams in sort of similar positions in the league. So I don't know. Apart from Charlie Alcaraz, there's no one screaming at me saying
Cameldeen's the other one, right? Will Cameldeen be dropped? That's the question, I suppose.
Yeah. And if Cameldeen's dropped, who does he bring in? Does he just bring Alcaraz in as a straight swap, or?
I don't think Fraser can start again.
No,
surely.
I think Alcaraz coming for Fraser, and then the Cameldeen one will be a separate question potentially. I mean, we're guessing obviously, but
and if he's out, it's either Edozie or Shea Adams, I guess. With things being switched around, and he's already said Ross Stewart isn't ready to start, and I totally understand that. So I can see us changing a few, but fundamentally, I see the same back four. I guess in a home game, he may want to pick Ryan Manning to get more crosses in from that left hand side, because though James Bree is more solid defensively and he's played well defensively, he's not going to get up the wing and get a cross in with his left foot. So maybe in home games that they're looking to put the opposition under a bit more pressure, maybe Ryan Manning will come back in. But other than that, I don't really see any changes. Certainly not in the centre backs or midfield. I think I think Russell Martin has established the sort of 8 or 9 core players who are always going to play unless they're carrying injuries. So I think we'll be pretty similar to what we had against Huddersfield. Hopefully, we'll turn up and play for 90 minutes this time instead of just 45. But I see this as quite a difficult game. I mean, the 3-2 win that Bristol City had against Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough are one of the better sides, and to get pegged back to 2-2 and still come out and win, that kind of shows that the players are playing for the new manager. So, I had Bristol City sort of pegged as certainties for mid-table at the start of the season. Yeah, seeing the squad they got, I just thought mid-table. So I'm not sure about the getting rid of Nigel Pearson because he wasn't in the top 6. I don't. Yeah, that one don't quite ring true.
You don't buy it?
Yeah. No, not really. I've got a lot of time for Nigel Pearson from his little time he had at Saints, because he came in during the sort of Michael Wilde, Leon Crouch, Rupert Lowe shambles, and actually kept us up one season and did a half decent job.
Was it post Jan Portfleet? Was it then? Was that?
No,
it was a bit after that.
It was before him.
Oh Lord!
Pearson's contract wasn't extended. He was only given short term until the end of the season.
Rupert Lowe came back, didn't he?
And Lowe decided. From what I remember, I think there were stories that Pearson wanted a pretty hefty salary that we just weren't. That Rupert Lowe unsurprisingly wasn't willing to give him. To be honest, I kind of find the sort of opinions on Pearson from our side of things a bit baffling, given that he came in, took over from Jason Dodd and John Gorman in late February after Bristol Rovers had dumped us out of the FA Cup, and I think 14 games in charge, and he won 4 of them and took us from 14th to needing a goal 15 minutes from the end of the season to stay up. So I'm not sure he actually was that good a manager for us. But he's one of those sort of straight talking guys who fans like to listen to in press conferences, which it's utterly meaningless. But results were crap, and yet he's still favoured over some of our managers that were actually good.
Was it the Stern John? It was the Stern John goal, wasn't it, against Sheffield United?
Yeah. Stern John kept us up. Basically, he scored 23 goals for the team that finished fourth bottom.
Ben's eyes have glazed over.
Fair enough.
I bet Ben doesn't even remember Stern John.
This is the bit, Ben, where we do score predictions. So I will come to you last. Steve, I'm going to start with you. Score prediction for Wednesday night, please.
Open game, I think. If Bristol City are going to play the way that that Liam Manning seemingly wants them to play, then anything goes. 2-2.
2-2, right? Okay, Glenn.
I back us to get back on the horse a little bit on Wednesday night, so I'll go for a 2-1 home win.
There's the 2-1, the famous 2-1. Alfie.
Yeah, I think my 4-0 at Huddersfield wasn't brilliant in the end, so I'm going to rein it in a little bit.
It could have been.
I will copy Glenn on this occasion. I know that Glenn copies Steve sometimes, so I'll say 2-1. You've got to play the numbers.
Play the numbers game. And Ben, a score prediction for you, please. How do you see this one playing out on Wednesday?
Well, I'm not extremely confident, but I'm going to back us to come away with a point. I'll go 2-2. And I take a point now.
You would take a point ahead of the game. Do you think
100%.
Do you think that's going to be a lot of fans? Do you think they'd agree with you? They'd take a point going into this one.
Yeah, 100%. You're going
keep the unbeaten run going.
Yeah, 100%. You're arguably going to one of maybe the top 5 teams in the league. You know, with maybe still players that should be playing in the Premier League. I think you'd be silly not to take a point, especially our new manager's 3rd game.
And not too far this one either, so should be a good atmosphere. No. Good turnout on Wednesday. Do you think? Yeah,
well, sold out away end. So it should be a good one. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Nice one. All right, well, thank you very much for coming on. Enjoy Wednesday, and we'll catch up with you later on in the season, Ben. Cheers.
Definitely, yeah. I'll hopefully enjoy it as long as we don't get pummeled.
Cheers, Ben.